A plea to the government to not defund human services. To whom it may concern. To cut to the chase, please do not defund or do not take funding from human services. I know human services cover a wide assortment of subdivision, but I'm going at the issue from the mental health standpoint. I'm just going to put this out there. I am an individual who is diagnosed with schizophrenia. So human services are important to me, and people like me. The year I was diagnosed was in 2013, after my second mental break. The schizophrenic diagnosis wasn't given to me after the first break. It was documented as a stress break initially. Not too long after getting a label, I applied for and was accepted to receive disability. Initially, I thought I would not need it and was hesitant to be accepting it. I would say the stigma about people receiving money from the government for essentially doing nothing was ingrained in my head. Like it was a bad thing or something. Despite my initial thoughts, I am very grateful to receive it. Receiving disability, I have been able to increase my growth and my ability to be independent. Isn't that what being human is all about? I lived with my parents for the first of my 26 years. Now I am currently living in an apartment with a roommate who's a little older than me, but we get along very well. Being independent has brought great joy into my life. My disability check covers rent, cable and internet, and a couple other video streaming services such as Netflix. After that, I have about $50-$60 left. That isn't a lot for the month left over to act as what you call fun, expendable income. If my parents did not support me with the cell phone, I would have very little discretionary income. The point I'm trying to make is that disability for me covers the essentials of living. I am not going out blowing my disability money on things such as cigarettes, booze, hookers, or other drugs or anything like that. With the remainder of my money, with the remainder of what I get, I have to save up, and I'll be able to treat myself once in a while. So maybe a movie outing or a video game once in a while. In regards to food, I get food stamps, and I budget that pretty well. I make it last the whole month. Another aspect of human services I rely on is the social programs the state has to offer. I utilize some of the programs here in Connecticut, offered by Sound Community Services. Through Sound, I see psychiatrists and therapists. One of the major services I utilize is the social program. It gives me the opportunity to get out of the apartment and socialize, which is a basic human need. If I didn't have this option, I could see myself getting all depressed, and who knows where or how I would end up. The social program is more than just getting together with individuals who are similar and going out on the occasional outing. It also provides an assortment of groups that aid in improving skills. The groups that help me the most are learning about the various coping skills. Living with a mental illness is tough. I need all the help I can get when it comes to reducing symptoms and anxiety. I had potential for greatness growing up. I believe I still do, but I have to work a little harder for it. I did well growing up. I had a job in high school. High school was cake for me. I graduated in the top 15% of my class. I even had a decent curricular activity in terms of playing football for freshman year and acting acting almost every year. Heck, I was even class president for a few years, despite feeling like I'm not the most social person, being a bit of an introvert and all. Despite not being totally outgoing, I had a close-knit group of friends. Sadly, I do not see them, I had a close-knit group of friends. Sadly, I do not see them / get together with them hardly ever, which I'll cover in a moment. With my first mental break, I was in a hospital for a little less than 2 months. After being considered stable enough to leave, I had a following year of nothingness. I did absolutely nothing. I didn't socialize or really contact my friends because I wasn't really able to. I was recovering. I blame this break for me becoming more distant with the few friends I did have. After a couple of years, I went to college. I worked hard, did a few of the plays there, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree. I had many acquaintances in college, in the drama club in particular, but I never grew close to particularly anyone. Eventually, I got my old job as a cashier again, and then I sort of stagnated for a bit. In 2013, I had a second break. It's been about 2.5 years since then, but I haven't bounced back as fast as before. The biggest issue I have is a lack of drive and focus. The magic amount of time for my focus is about a half hour. I'm only able to concentrate on just about any activity or task for that long. The max is about an hour. I used to love watching movies growing up. I was a huge movie buff. Now when I watch something, I usually turn it off about the half hour mark. The only times I can really watch a movie is if I go to a theater and can focus on it a lot more without any distractions, or if it's like a family activity, like we're sitting at home watching a movie as a family and we're all watching it. I do enjoy shows more than I used to, such as like TV shows. Like I like episodic shows, and it's easy to follow along with those. And also, I'm able to read. I do read a lot more than I used to. I was never really a big reader, but I enjoy reading books as everything's broken down into chapters and all. It's not just my attention span that's been tampered with, but also my memory capacity and retention. My recollection of what I did is terrible. If it weren't for holidays with specific numbered dates, I would barely remember anything. It's easy to answer, well, how did you spend Christmas? That's easy. For example, I had dinner with my family, saw my nephews, and was able to occupy them while my older brother and his wife were able to catch up with their parents. I don't know when I'll be able to get back to work. Sometimes I have lingering thoughts about that. Sometimes I have some remaining lingering thoughts. I still feel weird sometimes receiving state aid. However, people need it. People like me need it. My illness, for example, schizophrenia, about 1% of the population have it. I don't know for sure, but say the U.S. has about 300 million people. That's 3 million people who have what I have specifically. And that's just considered my illness. There are so many people out there who have other issues and who have a hard time working or finding work. So, dear government, when deciding on state and federal budgets, please, please, please don't cut human services.